It's been a while since Alcatel released the Alcatel Idol 4S, a phone with good specs that comes with a VR headset, dual speakers and a beautiful display. Is it still worth buying in 2017? Let's find out. I was excited when I bought this phone. I always found virtual reality an interesting concept, and this phone is all about it. From the beautiful AMOLED 1440 by 2560 screen to the fact it comes inside a VR headset to begin with. The VR experience is decent but not mind-blowing. The European version of the Idol 4S has a cheaper looking and feeling VR headset that fell apart after a few weeks of occasional use. The lenses are good, but the VR headset's build quality is not. The touch button stopped working days after I first unboxed the phone. Both marketing gimmicks for this phone, the boom key, which is just an extra physical key, and the VR headset are a letdown. The European version also doesn't have a fingerprint scanner. I couldn't even reach a proper Alcatel customer service team. Yet the price of the phone is the same as in the US, where you do get a fingerprint scanner and a better VR headset. The disappointments don't end there. Alcatel promised that they will update this phone to Android 7, but as of May 5th, over a year after Android 7 Nougat was originally released, at a time all other manufacturers already updated their flagship phones, Alcatel has not. They lied. And as I mentioned, they don't even have a proper customer service to ask about it. Their localized Twitter and Facebook accounts are completely disjointed or entirely abandoned. Alcatel already announced many other phones, including an Idol 5S, which assures me they're way over their heads announcing phones after phones without supporting them for long, disappointing and lying to their customers. That's sad because in many areas this phone is fantastic. It has dual front-firing speakers that sound way above average for a phone. A good supposedly glass and metal design that feels good in the hand. Although it feels like plastic, but it says glass, so okay. The bezels are respectfully small, so it keeps up with newer phones, both design-wise and in terms of sound quality. The screen is beautiful, perhaps the best feature of this phone. The colors are vivid and the blacks are very black, as expected from an AMOLED screen. The power button is on the left side of the screen and I barely use it because it's out of reach, unless you're left-handed. Thankfully there's a double tap the screen to wake gesture, which works well for most of the time. The phone has a boom key, which you might find either useful or completely forget about it. You can use it to launch an app. I personally use it to take a screenshot. It has its uses, but it's unnecessary for most users. The software experience is decent but buggy. Alcatel's launcher is one I like. The icons are big and there is an app drawer. The backgrounds have a parallax effect, which however often fails to work right. Sometimes the background will move well, sometimes it will barely move. In many occasions the screen turned off as I was flipping through menus and I have no idea what caused that. I would assume the double tap gesture is buggy and gets triggered by mistake turning off the screen, but that is just my guess. The phone has its own version of always on display, which actually turns the screen on in black and white mode, showing your new notifications as you get them. However, it makes little sense. It will turn on and off several times instead of once, and it will not stay on, as real always on display does. Alcatel's file browser app is great. The phone has 3 gigs of RAM, which most of the time means smooth and satisfying performance. The Alcatel Idol 4S could have taken advantage of Android Nougat's split screen feature, which I so desire, if only Alcatel were honest with their customers and actually updated the phone to it. The camera is average, disappointing in medium and low light, average in good lighting conditions. The app itself is simple and switching between shooting modes is slow, as Alcatel have decided to copy Apple's camera app style. The battery life is bad. I exchange opinions with friends who have the US model, which is why I know all the differences between the models. He claims his battery life is good, yet mine is not. I can only assume either the battery is smaller in the already crippled Canadian, UK and European version of the phone, or the software works differently. I get about 4 hours of screen on time, which is appalling. So is the Alcatel Idol 4S worth buying in 2017? It all comes down to one main problem. The Alcatel Idol 4S could have been a good phone even in 2017, but the fact it's still running Android 6 means that it will remain a could have been. A supposedly VR-centric Android phone can't even run Android's dedicated Daydream app, as it's for Android 7 phones only, and this one oddly is still running on Android 6. What a bad joke. The phone's design, speakers and screen hold up well, but the software experience does not. I personally will never buy an Alcatel phone again, because just like Microsoft once did with the Lumia line, they drop support for their phones sometimes as quickly as weeks later, and are way over their heads, releasing new phones after new phones for the sake of quantity over quality. What could have been a great phone even a year later with just a few bug fixes and the promised update to Android Nougat ended up being a lie in the faces of many customers, especially European ones who pay the same price but get less of a phone, less of a VR headset, and zero customer service. Alcatel's customer service is virtually non-existent outside of the US, despite them selling their phones in Canada, Europe, and the UK as well. I couldn't reach any of the latter two customer services, and I'm not the only one who tried. If a company lies to its customers, sells a lesser product yet for a full price to some of them, and doesn't even have customer service despite selling overpriced products to them in large numbers, those are three major red flags that no self-respecting phone manufacturer should ever allow. So until and if Alcatel somehow manages to make up for all of this, I cannot recommend any of their phones anymore. For more honest reviews of mobile tech, subscribe to Mobile Tech Storm. See you next time.